Hey, it's Derek Raval from Vehicle Graphics Academy, and I want to talk a little bit about how to create an irresistible wrap. Now, an irresistible wrap is basically a vehicle graphics, whether it's on a van, any type of vehicle, that actually compels customer, it absolutely compels them to pick up the phone and call you or to go to your website. There's just something about that graphic that says, you know what, that's the company I want to do business with. So let's talk a little bit of how you can actually do that. Now, the first thing is you want to capture their attention. You've got to capture your customer's attention. So much advertising out there, you want to be able to cut through the static. So the graphic has to be able to do that. The way you do that is you create a clear, concise message that really leaves nothing to the imagination. And you want to make it clear, simple, short, and to the point. You want to use the right combination of graphics and text. The amount of graphics and text on your vehicle will absolutely be limited, especially if it's a smaller car. So you've got to be careful how you utilize it. Now, in most cases, you only have 3 to 6 seconds to actually get your message across. So the actual message itself needs to be fairly concise, even if you're driving a van. Now, the first thing you want to do is to create a very high ROI offer. And what that means is that you've got to create something in the customer's mind that they perceive as having value. And it's about what they perceive, not what you have to offer. So you need to understand that first and foremost. It should be something that they're actively looking for. So if they're looking for a solution to, you have a higher chance it's something that they'd be willing to pay money for. Now, after you've done that, the second part of it, it's got to be something that's believable. So whatever your message is and whatever you're communicating to them, you've got to make it believable. And the way you do that, absolutely you want to do that in your first impression, because you only get one chance to make a first impression. The overall look, the design, and everything on your graphic needs to create some level of confidence and believability in the mind of the customer. It must be consistent with the information you're conveying. So the graphic needs to support that. They must believe that you can actually do what you say you can. So even if you can do something and if it doesn't sound believable, you may want to look at something that's more consistent with what they see and believe. You want to create a memorable message. And first of all, the message needs to be clear and concise. But most important, you want to control the flow of the customer. You want to control what they see first, what they see next, what they get as a takeaway. At all costs, make sure that the URL and the phone number is the absolute last thing they see or read. And the reason for that is that's the thing you want them to remember the most. So you want them to remember it or record it. And remember, if they're not interested in your graphics or your message, they really aren't going to be interested in your URL or phone number anyways. The vehicle should also be memorable because you're going to be relying on repeat viewing. With any successful marketing, it's about consistency. It might not be the first, the second, the third, fourth, or even the fifth time, but you want them to, every time they see that vehicle, you want them to remember your message. You want them to get what you do and the message and the value and what you stand for. Now, success in any type of vehicle graphics marketing or advertising is based on how well you're able to not just connect but convince the customer that you're the best company to do business with. And in order to do this effectively, you must know who your target customer is, and you've got to know what their needs and desires are. You've got to be able to clearly define your high ROI offer, and it's got to match up with their expectation and their needs. When that's all said and done, you need to find a vehicle graphics company or a designer that you can articulate all of that clearly, and that's the only way they'll actually be able to help you and create the graphics and the message you need. Now, we have a step-by-step system that allows you to extract that information in such a way that any business owner can actually create his own irresistible wrap and be able to communicate that with a vehicle graphics company or a designer. So if you're looking for more information, you can go to vehiclegraphicsacademy.com, and there's a whole wealth of information, everything to do with marketing, design, advertising, that you're welcome to utilize. And for now, best wishes with your marketing